had a really, really interesting little brain pan of a moment in the doc, and we realized there was an intersection between some things that we were gonna, include. Because on my local, Facebook rant page, I assume that other communities have these things, or maybe you guys just use Nextdoor or whatever it's called. But on My Not Whiners and Complainers 2.0, some lady popped up and she was just like, "I am angry. I have been exposed to drunk cats, and I won't be having it anymore. And America needs to be ready to purge the sinners and unbelievers." I don't know. She goes crazy. The text is up there. You can join the page yourself if you want to see all the spicy comments, because there were a lot. But I just saw this and I blew my top. I just couldn't believe it was real. But this is the community I live in. This is North Dakota. But how did you through line this to the topic of, how can art survive in a modern world like this? It's like, if we can't even have Puss in Boots, what can we have?
Yeah, so the sort of title of this sort of segment is the reception of art in modernity, and we're taking this at a micro and macro level. And so Chuck has already sort of illustrated the micro level, and on the macro level, what we're seeing in the last week or so is sort of people in the film industry, people in the film community that are sort of waking up to the fact that, hey, maybe we don't take art the best way in, the current day. Maybe we need to, it's not healthy to, call for people's deaths on Twitter when we don't like a movie, or to dox people, or to say you're going to kill someone's children, or, maybe we don't take it so well and take art so well in modernity. And so there's two other stories that kind of intersect with this idea, and that is at South by Southwest, Julia Durkinow, however you say her last name, the film director of Titan, was doing a panel where she basically was asked about the state of the film industry, as far as these conversations people are having about the death of theaters. And she took the question in a completely different direction and basically said, I'm not so much concerned about the death of theaters. I am concerned about being canceled, because of the movies that I make. And people seem to think that the movies I make are a reflection of me in real life, and they think that I want to fuck your car for some reason, and I don't, and I don't want to eat you either. And she's really concerned about the idea of just the art that you make could cancel you as a person nowadays. And I don't know. Do you want to take it from here? What did you think of this?
On the one hand, I'm proud of her for coming out and saying this, because she is just the dommy mommy of transgressive filmmakers, of any stripe. The Titan was one of my favorite movies from that year, and she is just such a iconoclast. You don't expect her to be the person making the movies she makes, but she's pushing a lot of buttons, and she's transgressing a lot of orthodoxies, across the whole political compass, the whole ideological compass. The whole stew of reactionaries is set off by the art of this individual. So I get that she's why she's reacting the way she is. Because, what kind of movies can she make if she is literally going to be thinking about, who's going to be coming for my throat today? Because it could be anyone. Look at J.K. Rowling, for crying out loud. There was a full court press movement to try and suppress a video game, all because it maybe would give some money to someone who holds an opinion different from a lot of different people. Yeah, and that's another aspect of this. But it's sad that we're in this place, because either we act like it's a bad thing for terrorists to stab a bunch of cartoonists to death for drawing the Prophet Muhammad, or we are able to rationalize the murder and deplatforming or like whatever bad thing that people are calling for something as benign as not liking a Star Wars movie enough, or not letting the director we like make the movie we want them to make. Like the Snyderverse is a problem. Like toxic fandom in general is a problem, and it's unfortunate that like we are at the point now where a lot of these people, artists, and even in particular critics, are getting the vibe that I should just get the fuck out of here before like they really start like putting people against the wall. Because I've been listening to A.O. Scott since he was on At the Movies back in the day. He was one of the guest hosts, and he was always a voice I respected, even though I totally found his point of view to be different from mine. But to hear him basically just come out and say that I've had enough, these people are psychos, I think that says a lot. Culture needs to reassess, but we're not going to do that. Like, there's an election year looming, and we're all about to be deranged completely by every cultural force that we tap into. It's just reality. Mm-hmm. It's like, we're fucked.
So for just to continue along with the A.O. Scott thing, A.O. Scott announced his retirement from film reviewing this week, and in his sort of exit interview that was published to the New York Times website, he answered the question about what he likes and dislikes about movies, and you get the sense that his answer to this question was probably one of the reasons why he decided to get out of Dodge now. And it was essentially about how, he has pissed off so many like subgroups of fans in the last like decade or so, ever since fandom has really gotten out of control. Everything Everywhere All at Once fans, Top Gun Maverick fans, MCU fans, DC Universe fans, and they all essentially came for his head at one time or another and tried to, get him fired or threatened his life or, whatever. And Samuel L. Jackson even partook in the Avengers when he did something as like banal as post a subpar Avengers 1 review back in 2012 or whenever that was. And
that was not the movie to go to the mattresses for. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was the Avengers. That movie was awesome at the time, but come on. Art in modernity, it's withering. We have a deleterious effect on art and culture these days. Everything is getting pushed towards homogeneity in one direction, unfortunately.
And then the last thing I kind of wanted to say about just speaking about these three stories, these three sub stories as a whole is it's next time you think about posting that tweet that is complaining about a director and then tagging that director in that tweet, maybe think twice, people. Do you really have to do that? Because we have to get out of this mindset that it's not enough for us to be confident in our own opinions nowadays, but we must convince everybody else that that opinion is the correct one. And a lot of people nowadays are, if I agree with somebody on 9 out of 10 topics, 9 out of 10 subjects, but then that 1 out of 10 thing that we disagree on, that's enough for so many people nowadays to just throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, nope, we disagree on that. Fuck you. I fucking hate you now. I don't like you. You are a bad person. And we have to let people have differing opinions from us nowadays and come to a consensus on those 9 out of 10 things that we agreed on in the first place. So
it's very magnanimous of you, Matt, and it's very big of you. I don't know why it's so hard for this world to just accept something so simple as a concept as tolerance, because how else can we live?